In the previous video, I talked a little bit about some tips and steps that you could do to just overall increase the performance of your system, which mainly included stuff like cleaning this, defragging them, updating drivers, and uninstalling the application that you don't use anymore. But in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the RAM related issues, which mainly includes the problems like falling short on the amount of RAM to run the applications, and especially the more resource-hungry applications. And now RAM is a very important thing in any computer system, because RAM is basically the thing that where every application gets loaded, and no matter if you're running YouTube, game, everything, it gets first loaded into your RAM, and then it gets shown into your monitor or screen or display, whatever you want to call it. So in majority of the cases, and especially with the people with the lower RAM installed in a system, and now they try and run into application, but majority of the time their RAM kind of falls short to able to run the application as intended. And to fix this problem, by default there are some features that most of the operating system come with these days, like it's a virtual memory feature, where what happens is, like, whenever you're trying to run applications that demands more amount of memory than your actual computer has, then the Windows or any operating system you have, it'll automatically use some part of your hard disk to work as a memory. So whenever you're trying to run an application that demands more resources, some of the parts of the application would get copied to the virtual memory, and some of them would get copied to your physical memories, and there will be an exchange of data between the virtual and physical memory depending on the need of the application to run properly. But now people may ask, like, why are you making a video on a virtual memory when it's automatically set by the operating system on its own? But like, in some points, and in the majority of the cases, the default amount of memory or virtual memory set by the operating system may fall short and may not be enough to run the application that you're trying to run, and it happens most of the time. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can, by default, like, manually set the amount of virtual memory on your own, rather than depending on the default amount set by the operating system. To do so, first you must know the amount of physical memory installed on your system, and to do so, you must go first find out the total amount of physical memory installed. To do that, first you'll need to go to this PC. In my case, I don't have any app here. I actually did, but I just deleted it. I didn't like it, so I'm gonna just go Windows and E, and it's gonna pop me the File Explorer, basically the same thing. So I'm gonna go to this PC right over here, and over here I'm gonna click on right click over here and click on Properties, and it's gonna show me this window, which basically shows the specification of my computer, like processor, installed memory, etc. So you're gonna focus on the installed memory part here. In my case, I have 4 gigabytes, which basically tells even I am a low spec computer user. So if this works for me, it'll work for you guys as well. I can guarantee that. So you're gonna go to Advanced tab and go to it'll be auto check on the Advanced tab here, and if it's not, if it's like over here or here, you'll have to select it manually over here and come up to this Performance tab and select in Settings. And now you're gonna go to Advanced tab over here, and here you have the virtual memory section. Now just don't check it right now. We're gonna do some calculations to find out the maximum amount of virtual memory you can set manually. It's not like you'll just go in here and just basically just type in any amount of number. It's not gonna work like that. So first you'll have to do some calculations. To that, I'll have to check out my calculator. Okay, now what you're gonna do is, now you have gigabytes over here. You're gonna convert this gigabyte into megabytes. Now for that, you must know that 1 gigabyte is equivalent to 1024 megabyte. So 1024 megabyte. Now to convert this amount into megabyte, I gotta multiply it by 4. So now, in my case, it's 4. Now it depends on what you have. It could be 2 or 6, 8, depending on how many amount of physical memory is installed on the system. So it's 4 for me, so like it's gonna give me 4096. Now again, I'm telling you, the value may differ, depends on your physical memory. So now 4000, I'm gonna multiply it by, again, 1.5. It's gonna give me 6144, and Now what this value is, now what I did is, now by multiplying the MB value with 1.5, you'll get the minimum amount of virtual memory you can set manually. Now to get the maximum, you'll have to multiply again this value over here, 6144 by 3, and I'll give you the maximum amount of value you can set. Now I'm not going to recommend you guys like go and just set the exact value you got after the calculations, because it may hamper your system and stuff. So always try to set the value that's kind of low than the maximum allowed. Like in my case, I'm going to go and just select any value that's going to be lower than the maximum allowed on my system. So I'm going to go here and just going to first memory section, I'm going to change, and if you haven't done any tweaks to your system before, like you haven't made any changes like by going in the specs tab and etc., you gotta go, if this thing will be checked for you, so you have to uncheck this and check the then select this custom size option, and I'm gonna just keep a value that's gonna be smaller than the maximum allowed for my system. I'm gonna go like 8,000. This is roughly 8 gigabytes of virtual memory. So yeah, or like I'm gonna set 17,000, like that's just 1,000 less than what is allowed on my system. So I'm gonna go 17,000 right there and set, and again click OK, and OK again. Alright, and let's cancel this. Now how are you gonna know that that the value that you set right now is actually did work? For that you have to go to settings, right click on the startup Windows icon, and head on to settings, and now click on system. Okay, now click on storage, and you have to click on the show more categories to actually be able to see where you are. Then click on system reserved, and there we go, the virtual memory. Now I selected 17,000, which is roughly around 17 gigabytes. So 16.8, which is kinda like close to 17 gigabytes around there. So which kind of shows that it actually worked. So now talking more about what we just did here. We just said the value the operating system would be using as a virtual memory on our own, rather than depending on our operating system to do it by itself, and just setting some smaller value should not be enough to run the application. So now by doing this, it's not going to be like it's going to create a big impact on the system. Your system is just going to run very fast as like never before. And it's not going to add a physical memory. Like for example, now I have 4. Now after doing the tweaks, and that 4 is going to get converted into 17 gigabytes of memory. It's not going to work like that. But and you will not notice any differences, very huge differences in application. But like the application that ran a bit slow or like kind of crashed, it'll kind of fix those little problems, but it's not going to create a huge difference, and it's not going to be very helpful in gaming as well, because as you know, the hard drive is always slower than the physical memory installed in the system. And in this step, in this virtual memory, what you're doing is we are tricking operating system to like use some part of the hard drive as a memory, and no matter how much you replicate the storage or the part of hard drive, it's still hard drive, though it is used for some other purposes, but it's hard drive, and it's slower than your physical memory or actual memory installed on your system. So it's not going to be faster, but it's going to help you run the applications, and a little bit allow you to use more or run more programs at a time. But if you're talking about gaming, then it's not going to create a very huge difference. If you were facing lag before, then it still will face a lag and all sort of stuff. So I hope if it helped you running the application that you tried to running, but I cannot really ensure about gaming. So that's all for the video. Hope you guys learned some new stuff about something about virtual memory, and to know how you can now set it by yourself. And thanks for watching. And if you like the video, comment down if you hope to see more. And that's all.